Okay, so I'm going to try and show you as much as I can on this. It's in a tight area, and my hands are probably going to be in the middle of your view for a good portion of it, but there's not really any way I can see to get around that because it's in a small enclosed area. But what we're going to do first is to disconnect the nozzle line from the gun and install this 300-pound liquid-filled pressure gauge on the end of the nozzle line. And that's going to do two things for us. It's going to keep any fuel from being able to go into the gun assembly while we're priming the pump later. And it's also going to show us what our static fuel pressure is, and it's going to show us whether the cutoff valve internal in the fuel pump is functioning properly and giving you a nice tight lock off when the unit shuts off. So that's all into place now, and now we're going to open the ignition transformer up. I believe this is pretty much your basic Wayne burner. It's got two screws on the top, and it's got one hold down screw on the side. One thing I don't like on this pressure washer already is that it has no fuel shutoff. The line runs directly from the tank to the fuel filter over here, with no way of shutting it off. So that's not a very good thing to cut a corner on, as far as I'm concerned. If you were, this is only a 1/4-inch pipe assembly. If you're pushing this through a yard and smacked it with a rock or something and snapped that pipe off the bottom of the fuel pump, or a squirrel chewed through the hose or whatever, you have no way of shutting off the fuel. But I guess that's above my pay grade because I designed it. And here's a little interesting tidbit. There's a broken off bus bar. It looks like sitting down inside the blower assembly. So we'll have to make up a new bus bar for it. Here's the retainer nut for the gun assembly, and then the gun assembly is just going to pull back. You put your thumb over the end of the nozzle line adapter and pull the whole gun assembly right out of there. And then you need to get your head up in here, if you can, and take a look at up in the top there. There should be a flame retention plate, and it's there, and it's nice and clean, and it's not cracked or rotted away. That's all you need to do with that, is give it a visual inspection. And I can see here also that the critters have been in here and they chewed the insulation off the neutral wires, and they chewed the insulation off of this main harness wire here, and the insulation off of the wires going to the burner. I didn't think we were gonna have to do anything with any of that. They were complaining that when they go to use this machine, it trips the breakers. And look at this, the critters also chewed up the hot lead for the ignition transformer, but it was blowing the breakers, and I kind of expected that that was only because they're trying to use this commercial machine, which the manufacturer says needs a 20 amp circuit on 15 amp household circuits out on residential jobs, because he's the fellow who owns this is a general contractor. So he's had it to wherever they bought it from or whatever, someplace, some kind of Hotsy dealer, a couple years ago, and they said that they ran it and there's nothing wrong with it, and sent it back to them. And I guess they got it back from there and tried it again, and it was doing the same damn thing. So in the shed it went, and in the shed it stayed. So now we're going to see if we can get this piece of equipment functioning for him, and I'll give him a determination of whether he can even use this at your average residential job, because even if you know, you're plugged into a 20 amp circuit at someone's home, who knows what else is tied into that circuit? It's not your house, and you don't really know what else is on that circuit that you're plugged into. So anyway, so we'll get everything straightened out. I'll get this burner wiring straightened out, get the burner oil side of it serviced, and then when we're all done, we'll fire it up and take an amp reading and see that everything is within specifications. And if not, we'll see what we can do to rectify that. So let me get reset up with the gun up on the bench. Or I think while I have the camera down here, I think first I'm going to change the pump strainer on the fuel pump, which is over here on the far side of the fuel pump of the oil burner. So we'll get that changed out, and then we'll take the gun up to the bench and see what we can do about replacing the bus bar and replacing the nozzle and whatever else needs to be done to the gun. So I'll get back with you in a minute.